Welcome to the first round of public meetings for the South Dakota Highway 115 Corridor Study. The purpose of today's meeting is mainly for three reasons. First, we would like to provide a brief introduction to the study. The second is to provide background information on why we are conducting this study. And third, we would like to gather comments from the public on transportation-related needs and issues to be addressed by the study. Your feedback is vital in assisting the study team in developing and prioritizing goals to ultimately help to develop the long-range vision and plans for this corridor. The study advisory team is organized to help guide the corridor study through completion. It is made up of representatives from the City of Sioux Falls, the City of Baltic, the City of Del Rapids, Minnehaha County, Southeastern Council of Governments, Sioux Falls Metropolitan Planning Organization, the South Dakota Department of Transportation, and the Federal Highway Administration. The corridor study area includes approximately 15 miles of South Dakota Highway 115 between the intersections of East Dike Place, Dike Drive, north of I-90 in Sioux Falls, and proceeds north to Del Rapids to the intersection of North 4th Street on the north end. Other specific segments and intersections are also identified and will be discussed in greater detail throughout the corridor study. There are 5 main study objectives for the Highway 115 corridor study. Due to indications for the need for pavement replacement and anticipated increase in traffic volumes, the first objective is to select the appropriate typical section for long-term capacity, safety, and access needs for the life cycle of the pavement. The second is to develop alternatives for the specific intersections identified in the study, which include East Dike Place, Dike Drive near Sioux Falls, 72nd Street North, Minnehaha County Highway 130, 122, and 114, commonly referred to as Renner Corner, Midway Corner, and Baltic Corner, 252nd Street, Minnehaha County Highway 110, and West 4th Street on the north end near Del Rapids. The third is determining corridor improvement options, which could vary throughout the study area. For example, these could include an urban versus a rural section, the potential for additional through, turning, and/or passing lanes, all while developing an access management plan along the entire corridor in order to improve traffic flow. These could include strategic consolidation of accesses and the potential for rearage and frontage roads where possible to reduce direct access to the corridor. The fourth objective will be to create an environmental scan, which simply means to complete a high-level review of environmental impacts to inform planning, design of future projects. And lastly, the fifth objective will be to create final products which will provide guidance for the agencies involved to implement recommended improvements for future construction. This will be a long-range plan for the corridor, including multimodal considerations for bicycle and pedestrian facilities. We anticipate the study schedule to extend for approximately 14 months and is broken into 4 phases. The first phase began in April of this year and included collecting traffic information to identify transportation-related issues to be addressed by the study. This information, along with your input from the first round of 2 rounds of public meetings, will be incorporated to establish study goals and priorities. Your feedback of what you see throughout the corridor on a day-to-day driving experience is valuable to the success of the study. We take all this information from the first phase and move into the second phase to draft the access options along with segment and intersection configurations to develop and evaluate the alternatives. From there, we move into the third phase for refinement and evaluation of the concepts. And finally, the fourth and final phase, which includes developing recommendations and drafting the report. A second round of public meetings will be held to share preliminary recommendations for your review and comment prior to the final recommended options and ultimately finalizing the study.
And now, the remainder of the presentation will focus on a few highlights from the baseline conditions analysis, which includes daily traffic volumes from both recent traffic counts and future year forecast perspectives, traffic operations for morning and afternoon peak times, and the identification of potential future capacity needs, and finally, crash history review findings and other traffic analysis related components that are part of this study. The next few slides touch on traffic volumes developed for this study. The figure on the right provides two corridor views that make up the daily volume display board and shows daily segment volumes throughout the study area for different time frames. Within each series of stacked volumes, the top volume reflects existing volumes based on traffic counts collected in April and May of this year. Future year traffic forecasts were developed by utilizing several data sources, including South Dakota Department of Transportation historical traffic counts and growth factors along the corridor, as well as the Sioux Falls MPO travel demand model to identify future capacity needs and to help develop and evaluate alternatives. The future year traffic volumes for this study include year 2031, which reflects approximately 7 years of traffic growth and an opening of the first potential project that may come out of this study. Year 2043 is a future interim year, and then year 2055 is the study's planning horizon to reflect upwards of 25 to 30 years of area development and traffic growth. The next series of slides will focus on specific daily volumes to give you an idea of what we are anticipating for traffic growth along the South Dakota Highway 115 corridor. Each slide will feature daily volumes with existing volumes on the left in gray boxes and future 2055 planning horizon volumes in dark blue boxes on the right for corridor segments along South Dakota Highway 115. These volumes reflect a continuous 24-hour volume on a typical weekday. Starting on the south end of the study corridor, the first area focuses on South Dakota Highway 115 from East Dyke Place, East Dyke Drive in Sioux Falls to Minnehaha County Highway 130, also known as the Renner Corner. As shown on the slide, current daily volumes are highest just south of East Dyke Place with over 10,000 vehicles per day and decrease as you move northward to Minnehaha County Highway 130. These volumes are forecasted to more than double through year 2055 with over 22,000 vehicles per day just south of East Dyke Place. Moving northward along South Dakota Highway 115 to between Minnehaha County Highway 130 and Minnehaha County Highway 122, also known as the Midway Corner, existing daily volumes range between 5,000 and 6,000 vehicles per day and are anticipated to increase to between 10,000 and over 14,000 vehicles per day in the 2055 planning horizon. Again, moving northward along South Dakota Highway 115, the following slide focuses on daily volumes between Minnehaha County Highway 122 and Minnehaha County Highway 114, also known as the Baltic Corner, where existing daily volumes are approximately 5,000 vehicles per day and are anticipated to increase to between 9,000 and 11,000 vehicles per day in the 2055 planning horizon. This area continues that trend of daily volumes decreasing going northward from Sioux Falls. Finally, shifting to the northern end of the South Dakota Highway 115 corridor between Minnehaha County Highway 114 and West 4th Street in Del Rapids, existing daily volumes are approximately 4,500 to 5,000 vehicles per day and are anticipated to increase to between 7,000 and 9,500 vehicles per day in the 2055 planning horizon. So what does the anticipated traffic growth mean in terms of long-range intersection capacity needs? We completed preliminary traffic operations analysis that looks at peak hour intersection volumes reflective of your morning and late afternoon commute times and developed a display board shown here that illustrates approximate timeframes for when improvements could be needed. For example, over the next 7 years up to year 2031, analyzed traffic volumes are showing capacity needs for improvement at Minnehaha County Highway 130 side street approaches and the overall intersection at West 4th Street in Del Rapids. By year 2043, the capacity needs continue to include the overall intersections of Minnehaha County Highway 114 and Minnehaha County Highway 130 and side street approaches at 72nd Street North in Sioux Falls. By 2055, capacity needs start to encompass the overall intersections of Minnehaha County Highway 122 and 72nd Street North as well. One thing I want to stress is that this type of assessment isn't the definitive timeline for when an improvement should be implemented, as there are several factors that play into this, such as development timelines and density, but this gives a good illustration of where the first needs are expected to show up with increasing traffic volumes. Similarly, we performed peak hour traffic operations analysis on South Dakota Highway 115 corridor segments between analyzed intersections and determined approximate timeframes for when improvements could be needed. The graphic shown here depicts level of service along the two-lane segments of South Dakota Highway 115 across the existing and future year no-build scenarios, and indicate when and where segments fall below minimum study level of service goals in either yellow, orange, or red. For example, in 2024, only several small subsegments are yellow near Minnehaha County Highway 130 and 78th Street North. Over the next 7 years up to year 2031, the yellow segments expand northward from East Dyke Place to Minnehaha County Highway 122. In 2043, the yellow areas continue further to the north until Minnehaha County Highway 114, as well as some subsegments near West 4th Street. In addition, several segments between East Dyke Place and 78th Street North decrease to LOSE, indicated in orange. Finally, by 2055, nearly all corridor segments are anticipated to not meet minimum study LOS goals, and more segments between East Dyke Place and Minnehaha County Highway 130 decrease to LOSE, indicated in orange. Again, I want to note that this type of assessment isn't a definitive timeline, but gives a good idea of where and when the first needs are expected to show up with increasing traffic volumes. We also reviewed the history of reported crashes for years 2019 through 2023. The figures here illustrate the density of these crashes throughout the corridor with and without wild animal crashes, which were the predominant crash type. In fact, 62%, or 176 crashes, were wild animal crashes. The review highlighted locations for further consideration of crash mitigation, which included the segment of South Dakota Highway 115 between Minnehaha County Highway 110 and West 4th Street in Dale Rapids, the intersection of South Dakota Highway 115 and Minnehaha County Highway 114, otherwise known as the Baltic Corner, the intersection of South Dakota Highway 115 and Minnehaha County Highway 130, otherwise known as the Renner Corner, the segment of South Dakota Highway 115 between 72nd Street North and Minnehaha County Highway 130, and finally, the segment of South Dakota Highway 115 between East Dyke Place and 72nd Street North in Sioux Falls. In addition, non-wild animal related crashes in these areas were typically angle and rear end type crashes at major intersections or access points. Angle crashes were more likely to result in injuries. In addition, 57% of crashes occurred at night in areas without roadway lighting. And finally, before concluding the presentation, the study team would like to note other study components that we'll be looking at over the next few months. First, existing land use and access points, such as the areas shown on the slide to the top left, will be evaluated with potential access management treatments to address safety and operational issues. We will also be determining future land use along the corridor and identify any future access points to support that land use and developing areas. Second is route reliability. This will include a traffic analysis that focuses on events occurring on South Dakota Highway 115 or other major routes that impact South Dakota Highway 115 to identify potential issues due to adverse weather, blockages due to crashes, and delays related to farming equipment such as tractors. Third is blowing snow. A blowing snow analysis will be conducted to identify and evaluate areas along the corridor where snow routinely drifts. Findings will be utilized to identify and recommend solutions to reduce the drifting of snow and ultimately aid in winter operations and maintenance costs, as well as provide improved winter driving service conditions. And finally, the fourth component is related to bicycle and pedestrian connectivity and continuity. The City of Sioux Falls recently completed a bicycle plan, and this study will use that as well as other study area related plans as the foundation to take multimodal planning to the next step and incorporate bicycle and pedestrian enhancements with alternatives developed for this study. Before concluding the presentation, we would like to circle back to the final objective of this meeting, where we are looking for your input on the transportation issues and needs to be addressed by this study, as well as identifying goals and priorities that help develop a long-range vision for the corridor. There are several opportunities to provide comments, including submitting a comment card available at the public open house, reaching out directly to any of the study contacts, submitting a comment through the study website, or completing a brief survey about the corridor. And with that, the study team would like to thank you for your interest and participation in the corridor study. We are requesting comments back by Thursday, September 5th, so we can move into the next phase of the study where we will develop, refine, and evaluate concepts. We will be back to present concepts at the second public open house in late spring, early summer 2025. Study information and study contacts are shown here and available on the informational handout and on the website. Again, thank you for your input, and we will see you again next year.